Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Daybreak on Trust Television, and we are set to bring you our first conversation this morning, which promises to be exciting. The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee, constituted during Tuesday's plenary by Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila, on the need to review the 31st January 2023 deadline to phase out the old currency, has rescheduled its meeting with the Central Bank of Nigeria and commercial bank CEOs. The meeting was earlier scheduled for Wednesday. Announcing the postponement of the meeting to Thursday and Friday, the committee chairman Alhassan Ado Dogua said the shift became imperative following the late receipt of the earlier invitations by the CBN. He said the ad hoc committee is set to have separate meetings with both the CBN officials and bank chiefs.
I would like to convey to members of the committee and of course to the members of the public and the press that are here with us, that we have considered to allow the central bank officials to come up tomorrow by 1 p.m. tomorrow by 1 p.m. so that we will engage them, and immediately after our engagement with the officials of the central bank, we will engage the bank operators.
Today on the morning show, we are looking at whether the sensitization exercise carried out by the CBN in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency is enough. We have in the studio Assistant Director, Press and Programs, National Orientation Agency, Mr.
That day, but CBN has a duty by Tuesday. Now that the old money is no more legal tender, to make the new money available for people to use. It is from Tuesday.
Doctor, I hear the things you said in your opening remarks about timeliness, about how, you borrowing the words of the House of Representatives, how this is supposed to bring in people rather than displace people. I hear your analogy about the village and people who need cash to do business. And those will not happen overnight. The transformation we want from cash to cashless will not be magic. It will require simulation and sensitization. So where do you think the gaps have? I'm coming back to Ibrahim's question. Was it that in the last 90 days, because Nigerians also have a culture, there have been, at least in the conventional traditional media, they talk about this currency in the last 90, 100 days. Was it that people didn't take it seriously, or at some point in our usual character, we felt that there would be an extension and people just sat back to test the will of the system, or that people were just showing the usual character towards a new policy where, people don't take it seriously until the day draws closer? Where would you situate the kind of rush we are now beginning to see in those rural areas at the last minute?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, the problem we have in this country is that it seems like people at the top, they don't understand the country they are overseeing. That's the truth. I can listen to what my brother said here. It's good we want to move from liquid cash to cashless economy. You made mention of transfer on your app, on your internet. Can I please ask the CBN governor and you that you are here today, that do you know how many transactions we have done through that internet that could not succeed? That the transaction have failed, your money could not return back to you, you get to your bank, they keep postponing you. I know how much of my money that has hooked on this process that I could not recollect back to today. Get to any various bank in this country every Monday morning. Go to their customer service relation. What you are going to meet there is a long queue of people, POS, failed transaction, ATM issue. Are we right for this? That's where the question lies. Now, those are still people in the city, in the urban area. Now, let's go to the people in the rural areas. Millions of our people dwell in the rural area. Take it or you leave it.
Yeah.
And these are people that don't even have bank accounts. And we have in this country today, some state like Borno State, they only have only one branch of bank at the city of Maiduguri due to insurgency. And many, many states across the northern Nigeria. And they are farmers. Some are farmers that they stay in the farm for 3 months. After 3 months, they harvest their crops, they sell it, and they keep the money back. And it took them, I remember, my father was also a farmer. They came back home once in a year. So why am I going? What I'm simply saying is that the people that are forming policy in this country, they are far from the citizenry. That's what makes me angry. That's all. They are far from the citizenry. They are not aware of the nation they are overseeing. I'm privileged to live in outside country. I've seen the way policy is being run. UK is going to change their powers very soon from Queen Elizabeth to King Charles. But it's a 4-year policy. But you came up overnight. You have a NAIRA design. You begin to tell the whole people to go and return their NAIRA back within the space of 3 months, 2 months. Oh, come on. Where are they doing that in a civilized society? It's an insult upon us. It's not something we should be talking about at this jet age. You to do something, sensitize the people, did they do sampling opinion before they started this policy? If I want to go deeper.
Right, okay, go ahead, Ibrahim.
All right, I just wanted to talk about the issue of sensitization now, which is very, very important, because a lot of people have actually pointed fingers at the National Orientation Agency, that you are supposed to be the driving force behind sensitization, and a lot of people are in this situation right now because they don't know, simply. They just don't know. So, beyond Tuesday's deadline, is there any plan to expand this sensitization, to cover what we just talked about right now, about the cashless economy and all that, using digital platforms to do this, to do that? Is there any plan by the NOA to actually do that?
Yes, our relationship with CBN on this matter is two-pronged. One is on the redesign issue, and the second one on the introduction of the NAIRA notes. The day they came to office to do a demonstration for us, it was clear to us that two of them are connected.
That's right.
And so it's a sensation that will go beyond the design. Of course, one of the things we are doing for them as an agency is that we take feedbacks to them. When they came, all these issues that our officers have seen at the grassroots were relayed back to them. And they took time to explain. For instance, it was on the day that they were supposed to introduce, I think it was January 12th or something like that. And so we spoke about that this money is not
circulation.
It is not in the ATM. And they gave us numbers to call to report specific banks that they are not able to do, because the day before, the evening before that day, they had a meeting with banks and said, you must give this, put this money in the ATMs. Do you understand? So you see, you said something about the culture, an unfortunate culture we have, people trying to rush at the last minute. And this is a cash. These are contradictions that you witness when we have a massive cash economy trying to transit to the kind of what I can call a modern economy. Because the truth of the matter is that we all come from villages. I was in the East. I'm from the East, and I was in the East during the Christmas for about 3 days. And I knew that I did not go to the village with more than 5,000 naira cash. What did I do? Up to this morning, I had to pay 500 naira to somebody in the village for my contribution. For someone that had issue, we had to contribute for 500. I had to pay. It's just this my phone. I did that, and my place is a place that we do not have proper network. So that's why you see USSD is not internet-based. There are online internet-based transactions, and I those of them that we do not need the internet to do. And CBN has integrated some of these things so that we do not. You see, my appeal to Nigerians, and indeed Please, let's give this a chance, because eventually we get to this point. Don't forget that in 1984, there was a redesign at that time too. Yes, people said it was harsh, but you knew that it had its own advantages. This one, the problem is just that many people thought we should have started long ago. But was it part of the strategy of CBN? That's a question we need to ask. Every organization does their things and have strategy. I do not think it was part of the strategy of CBN at that time to give a long period of explaining and the sensitization and all, because of whatever they want to achieve with it. Now, so the consequences of what you are seeing, all the complaints and all the things you are seeing, is because that strategy is there. So the point I'm trying to make is that Nigerians need to give this policy a chance to survive, to thrive, because it is a policy that actually introduces us to new and modern way of doing things. We can't be carrying cash the way we carry cash in Nigeria any longer. Some of you travel, the way carry cash like that. My brother lived abroad before. I'm sure that he may not have in his wallet more than the minimum unit of currency of the country where he was. So these are new ways of doing things in the world, and that Nigeria cannot be left behind.
Yeah, so still coming back to my question, just you said you do have a relationship with the CBN, and it entails this particular policy and of course the NAIRA.
Yes.
What about the cashless thing itself? You know, you just talked about it. We rely heavily on cash.
Yes.
Yeah. What about the sensitization on the need to carry less cash and rely mostly on electronic transfers, or even the USSD that you talked about? Because a lot of people don't actually know or have an idea that they can be able to use USSD to make these transactions. They always talk about internet when you talk about online transactions. That is what goes to their mind. What plan does the NOA have beyond this to actually go into these places and make sure that these people are properly sensitized concerning the cashless thing?
Yeah, like I said, is the whole strategy, communication strategy for sensitizing Nigerians on these issues is bigger than just redesign. People at this local government, don't forget that if you look at our structure as an organization, we exist at the states, at the local governments, or the 774 local government. Even beyond that, we have people they call White Brigade. Remember the war against indiscipline that was started for that organization, that volunteer set of volunteers are by law embedded with us. And so those people operate at the world level. So you can have in my local government, for instance, somebody who is a local government, but under him, below that level, at the world level, that's communities and villages, you have somebody who is a White Brigade officer who was also empowered to tell Nigerians and the people what the policy is all about. Truly, is a transition. Every transition has its own difficulties. Do you understand? And so when we talk about transiting from a cash economy to a cashless economy, there's a lot of explanation we need to do. And that's what we are doing as an agency in those communities. And we are using leaders, not just traditional rulers, religious leaders, market women. We believe that those leaders have some kind of influence. If I come to a community and meet with the ballet or the oloja, the oloja is the people in charge of the market, and we begin to explain, the person understands first. Our communities are organized in such a very peculiar way that you don't find every other place. That every community has a way of organizing themselves. Even these days, we organize themselves for the sake of security. Do you understand? And so that's the advantage. That is the thing we take advantage of. And so, we use community leaders, influencers, even to explain to people what is going on, what the transition we're trying to make is all about, and But one other thing problem we had that today we are faced with problem of fake news. So you use the opportunity to dispel some of
these fake news.
Fake news.
All right, I quickly want to get Doctor's thoughts as we wind down to this program. Quickly, in a minute, you raised quite a number of issues that are germane, and there is no pretending that those issues do not exist or that time is not running against us. So I would like your final thoughts. You talked about the timeliness of this program. Why now, when we are facing an election period? So I would like to hear from you. When would it have been a convenient time? How else should we have organized this? And do you think that the deadline should be shifted?
Thank you. Number one, the deadline should be shifted, number one. Number two, we are moving to cashless economy. Are they aware that we have majority of people that don't even have bank accounts in this country? So they should go back to their policy formulation. That's the truth. They do their more research. As long as I appreciate that we should move to cashless economy, I'm not against it. But your policy and your strategy is failed. How do I know it's failed? Are you aware that internet does not cover every major of our space in this country today? That is why we are talking about BVAS issue. Definitely there's going to be a network issue in some area. And that's the reality on ground. I don't want to go deeper on that. If they don't know, they should go and know. They should send their boys to the field. So these are things, and what about our people? Our people, what I mean by our people that they are not educated. You are doing cashless economy as if we have grown enough that our citizenry are up there. Yeah, and we have people that don't even know how to press phone.
Yeah, but doctor, he raised case about those ones that don't require internet.
USSD, I know about it.
Yes, the point I actually wanted to drive home is there had been statistics by the CBN and the NAIRA suggesting that the total volume of Nigeria's money, over 90% of them actually reside with 5% of the population. And that less than 5% of the other 95% have less than 500,000 naira in their kitty. So this shout about the rural people not being involved, is this money we are looking for actually in the rural areas or in the pocket of some big people?
That is left to them if the huge amount of money they are looking for is in the hands of the big guys in the country. Because they have a reason why they do it. They feel that there is some set of people that mop up a lot of cash from the system. It's not the 5% they are talking about. But you cannot use 5% people to affect 95% of your citizens.
Fantastic.
It's not going to work.
Thank you very much for that submission. I wish we had more time to continue to dwell on this issue. I'm sure these emotions will continue to run high. And as you have rightly pointed out, at the final hour, it will become clear whether that terminal date will be terminal in itself or we have to look at some kind of elongation, no matter how small. I want to thank you very much for coming into the studio and for providing perspective. We've been talking to public affairs analyst, Dr. Larry Oluwani, who has brought in very strong passionate concerns from the rural areas that affect a vast majority of Nigerians, if you like. And we have also had in the studio Deputy Director with the National Orientation, and Assistant Director, of Press and Programs with the National Orientation Agency, Mr. Paul Odenyi. Thank you very much for the perspective you bring. Yeah. Sorry I didn't give you the room to do explanation with some of the flyers you have brought, but we'll find time to continue this conversation in a later date. This is the much that we can bring to you from the stables of Daily Trust. Need I remind you that you should stay tuned for the Daily Trust Dialogue, which happens shortly after this program, where several other national conversations and very important speaker from our national polity will be addressing concerns, that borders on our continuity as a nation. It's been a pleasure giving us free access to your living room. I am Sunday Michael Ogu. Let's do this again tomorrow.
All right, this is much we can take, as he said, on Daybreak today. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.